today.
And the reason I bring this up is because we've had a few of those. And unfortunately, in most of the cases, it's usually the pedestrian who's the person who's the majority at fault in these things. So my concern is that maybe I need to say something to maybe hopefully get people to pay attention a little more. Use the crosswalks because that's why they're there, and maybe not look at your phone as much when you're out walking around. And, you know, there's been some other circumstances behind some of the other people who have been hit, and I don't really want to share that information. But again, I know that we have done all we can here. I mean, we talked about extending the length of the crosswalks, and we're going to continue to do more upgrades on Ardmore as we go along with the speed limit maybe being reduced here soon. And I'm surprised to even talk about anybody being hit at this point with the road so, you know, under construction. But still, I think in this case today, where the young individual kind of ran into the car more than the car running into the person. So again, I just think everybody needs to pay attention, not only when you're driving. Fortunately, the guy was paying attention and he was going very slow. So it was minor injuries, and it was pretty much hopefully just a bump and bruise based on the information. But again, anytime you get hit by something larger with such force, that you can easily be injured pretty severely. So I'm hoping that, again, people will pay attention if they're going to watch this meeting, for example, that they'll think about that just a little bit, because the weather's still going to be good for quite a while here before we see any snow, hopefully. And people do tend to walk around on Ardmore and they move from place to place. I'm just hoping to just make a little notation, you know, we're trying to do all we can. We hope that the residents and other people would do as much as they can as well. That's all I have.
Actually, I have a question for you. Today is the first day of Woodland Hills School. How did that go? Like,
So-
I think normally you always say something about that.
I do, and that's why I put that on hold, because I didn't really have anything to say about that, because it went very well today.
Okay.
That's a good sign, because usually the first day is very confusing because the buses don't always pick up all the people that need to be picked up, and you know, people miss the bus, and sometimes the bus is in the wrong place or whatever. Residents, even with all the confusion with the roadway, we're still doing very well, and everybody, I believe, made it to school today without a problem.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Forest Hills Community Alliance.
Evening. I'm Maureen Ryan. I'm the board vice president. Just wanted to give you a project that we're working on. As you know, we received grant dollars from the county about 2 years ago. We finally that project scope that we submitted to the county. We got word on July 26th, 2022, approved by the county finance department. Move forward with building the band shell next to the West Hills. At this point, we've met with our contact at Allegheny County Economic Development to review the next steps. We're collecting any necessary ACED, Allegheny County Economic Development, on site on their own, and then provide us with a ramping up process to get to. Next step is for the county to review with package, covers assurances for seeking bids for the project, work, notification to minority agencies. Once that compliance packet is complete, of the ban shall take place and move forward with determining the best for the build work.
Thank you.
Any questions? Yes.
Are you still proceeding with the studies for an eco district in the business?
There are studies for the eco
Or are
district.
you planning to?
The
do
eco
one?
district is moving forward, yes.
Okay.
We are working with Evolve EA architect firm. At this point, the process, we've asked them to revise the project timeline. I can do some preliminary work, dive into some of the originally planned for work with the eco district, but we're working with Evolve. Structured, but yes, the project is still moving forward. It's just going to look a little bit different. In terms of
The
how
reason I asked is that we have a grant pending studying the impact of microgrid installation in the same area. And I'd like to be able to coordinate those efforts if we can.
I don't think it's going to interfere between now and the end of the year because we're doing some preliminary, we're kind of taking a step back as an organization, and then that work, the eco district, official eco district scope of work will probably start.
Thank you. Fire chief, EMS, they're not here. So solicitors report.
I have no public report, but I do have several items to report on in executive session.
Okay.
Thank you.
Next, WPJWA. She's not here, but I guess we had breaks on Sherwood, Avenue A, and 2 at Le Grand, and they're all taken care of. I know the one in Sherwood was pretty big. I guess Angelo can attest to that one, since it was in front of his house. Other committees, Vice President DiMarco, please.
Yes, I would like to, I sent around an announcement for the Connect Fire Summit, which will be coming up in September. It is open to any of you who want to attend. I did send an invitation to all members of council. The Allegheny League of Municipalities is working with the PA Municipal League for the Leadership Summit, which will be in Pittsburgh, October 6th through 9. The early registration deadline is September 4. So any of you who are please interested in joining me at that meeting, it would be important for you to attend and just have Mr. Morris know, and you can be registered by September 4th. I think that's all I have to report on those.
Thank you. Mr. Lawrence, do you have anything to report? No. Next, we have the public comment. At this time, citizens may address council on any issues which they would like to talk to. Would you please go to the middle, state your name and address, and you have 5 minutes.
Yes.
If you like, you can take your mask off, but it's up to you.
My name is Tom Pike. I live up the street on Greensburg Pike. I'm a pretty new resident. I moved here in April. One of the reasons that I moved here was this building. To me, it symbolized like that Forest Hills was a forward-looking community that had sustainability on its mind. And as I've been settling in, I've been one of the things that I've realized that is a little bit behind on is that there are no bike lanes in the city. Now, I know that there was recently a complete streets plan that was passed, and the complete streets plan specifically with respect to Greensburg Pike does call for bike lanes, but it calls for sharrows. Sharrows are the when you paint arrows on the car lanes. And what I do know about urban planning is that sharrows don't reduce traffic injuries. You know, we have traffic injuries, as you know, and I believe it is as much an urban design issue as anything else. If you design streets that protect pedestrians, that have safe places for pedestrians to walk, that have protected bike lanes that are isolated from car traffic, then I think you'll see more people biking. And one of the things that I noticed in the complete streets plan was the numbers on how many people currently bike. And I think it's about 0.5% of trips right now. I have lived in cities in the past where that number gets up to 2 to 4%, even in America, which is a very large number in a society where we mostly get around by car. And by way of example, I mean, if there was a bike lane here, I would have biked here tonight. I love biking. I have a bike. There's another issue with that as well, which is also a much easier issue to fix, which is that I'm pretty sure there's no bike rack at this building. I'm not sure if there are any at any of the public buildings in this municipality, but it seems like that would be kind of low-hanging fruit, like while the Complete Streets Plan is being implemented. So I just wanted to come up here, voice my support for the Complete Streets Plan, encourage you to put, to make the bike lanes protected bike lanes rather than just sharrows, and make sure there are bike facilities at public buildings. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. I think the bike racks is actually somehow in our budget for that building. Yeah, we actually ordered them, so you're good with that. And we are working on that, but it won't be, I appreciate your comments to have them physically somehow separate. I think the city of Pittsburgh does it a little bit. They have like little, similar like we have on Ardmore right now for the, I think there's this little yellow, whatever. But I think bike lanes in my mind need to be a little bit more regional. It doesn't do us any good if we have a perfect, nice state of the art bike lane and then it stops in Wilkinsburg. So I think it needs to go a little bit more regional. I think people are working on that. So Forest Hills is definitely happy to participate in things like that. But Greensburg Pike is even a bad example because it's owned by 3 different municipalities. So I think, and county, yeah. So we have to, I think it needs to be a regional approach, but we are definitely open to that. Thank you for your comments. I appreciate that. Anyone else? I guess we don't have any more public people, so we can move on. The next committee meetings are Tuesday, September 6th and Tuesday, September 13th, and they will be on Zoom. And yeah, so committee reports, ops and policy, Mr. Lawrence, please.
Yes, I move to approve the minutes.
Second,
Any comments? No? We can do a voice vote. Everyone in favor says aye, please.
Aye.
The ayes have it.
second,
Any comments on that? I would just like to make comment, we are part of that for the last 50 years, and we don't really have a choice, but we will go along with them for the next 50 years. Okay, I think we have to do a roll call. Hang on. Yes, Mr. Morris?
Mr. Baoki?
Yes.
Ms. DeMarco?
yes,
Mr. Lawrence?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Watkins?
Yes.
President Erbaldinger?
Yes. Thank you. Next, we have Finance Committee, Vice President DeMarco.
thank you, President Erbaldinger. I would like to make a motion to approve payment of the bills for the month of July and the following amounts. From the general fund budget, $197,039.65. From the corrective action budget, $123,288.97. From the fire protection fee, $4,965.51. From the road improvement fund, $2,168.75. From the capital improvements plan, $9,127.82. And from the 2015 bond issue, $537. I note that the regionalization for the sewer repair in the corrective action budget, this should be close to the end of that work. There should be one more payment for that, and we should be finished by the end of this month.
Second. Thank you. Any comments? No? Can we do a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Baoki?
Yes.
Ms. DeMarco?
Yes,
Mr. Lawrence? Ms. Martin? Mr. Watkins?
Yes.
President Erbaldinger?
Yes.
in terms of comments, I would just like to reinforce the concerns of our borough manager, that we have some uncertainties in our revenue stream because of the Allegheny County tax assessment, and we're not certain of the impact of inflation on our expenses for 2023. I would also urge all council members to have any expected or planned or desired additions to the budget planning to the Finance Committee no later than September 11, so that we can discuss them at the Finance Committee meeting of September 13. Are there any questions regarding that? Good. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Borough Property, Ms. Martin, please.
President, move to accept the proposal of science staff.
Second,
Any comments?
I just like to know the quotes received.
Just. Okay, any further comments? No? Can we do a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Baoki?
Yes.
Ms. DeMarco.
Yes.
Mr. Lawrence.
Yeah.
Ms. Martin.
Yes.
Mr. Watkins.
Yes.
President Urbaner.
Yes.
Second.
No? Can we do a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Baoki.
Yes.
Ms. DeMarco.
Yes.
Mr. Lawrence.
Yes.
Ms. Martin.
Yes.
Mr. Watkins.
Yes.
President Urbaner.
Yes. Thank you. Next, planning and zoning. Anyone on planning and zoning who would like to take the lead on that? You do? Okay.
Second.
Any comments? Nope. Can we do a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Baoki.
Yes.
Ms. DeMarco.
Yes.
Mr. Lawrence. Ms. Martin. Mr. Watkins.
Yes.
President Urbaner.
Yes.
Sorry.
Any comments? I actually would like to, Mr. Corbett, can you explain what it is?
Yeah, it's a housekeeping item. There were updates approved by the state at the beginning of the year that we just need to implement into our existing chapter 5 of our ordinances. So real simple,
That's all.
boring. When you get it, you won't want to read it.
Thank you.
Sure.
Any further comments? I always think this kind of thing, maybe people are watching us, they have no clue. That's always good. I always pretend there's like 50 people sitting here, but. So now I'm off my roll call vote, please.
Mr. Baoki. Yes. Ms. DeMarco.
Yes.
Mr. Lawrence.
Yes.
Ms. Martin. Mr. Watkins.
Yes.
President Urbaner.
Yes. Thank you. Next, Public Works Committee, Mr. Watkins.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to approve the continued agreement with Allegheny County for snow removal on county roads in the borough, Yost and Brada, between Ardmore and Brenton by the borough's Public Works crew.
Second.
Any further comments? No? Can we do a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Baoki. Yes. Ms. DeMarco.
Yes.
Mr. Lawrence. Ms. Martin. Mr. Watkins.
Yes.
President Urbaner.
Yes.
We have a general report. I don't know if the engineer would like to comment. The other thing I
Use the microphone, please.
The only thing I would add is that the paving project is scheduled to begin immediately after Labor Day as of right now.
And can you please give us an update on Forest Hills Road, what we're going to do there?
Forest Hills Road is going to be deferred until next year so that we can improve the road, widen it, and improve the drainage situation on that road to prevent water from the road entering private property.
So we're not using an alternate, we're just taking the funding to next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Thank you.
I have a question regarding that, on the widening of the road.
Yes.
There are other roads that are narrower than Forest Hills Road, and I'm wondering why we're not widening that road.
Why are we widening that road?
Yeah.
Well, the drainage situation on the one side of the road is bad and the curbs need replaced anyway. And we did have an incident with a resident there that had problems safely accessing our property. So this widening of the road will allow better parking facilities there for the resident that needs to get into our property. And it will also allow public works snow trucks to get through, snow plows to get through easier. And it's the first one that Jim has mentioned that he had a problem with the snow plows.
Yeah, the reason why I asked, I went around measuring several roads. I do that kind of thing. And one of the roads was like, I think that one is 16 feet, 8 inches across. There was another road, I believe it was, I could look it up, but it was like only 15 feet. So I was just wondering what prompted that particular road to be.
It hasn't been brought to my attention before that the road required widening. If it did, we certainly would widen it.
All right. Thank you.
And I think the other reason is the residents on that road, they asked to keep the red bricks. And I think by widening, we have more room to play literally with the drainage and things like that. So we don't have to touch the bricks. We can just move where the bricks stop, put like some asphalt drainage or whatever we want to do there.
Well, I would just like to suggest maybe we take, we have time to. take
Yes,
a
we
further
do.
look.
It's next year, but we will actually have to, because the residents even, I mean, to some degree, residents should to somehow follow us, at least on the internet, what's going on. But we will actually try to involve the residents in the whole design planning. So we should probably start going with that thing sooner rather than later. Yes,
Yeah, we'll look at that in future years too.
yes.
Thank you.
I have actually some comments myself. I think on the foreman's report, the Bill Tomasic way, they're ordering the signs. And I talked to Bill, we will have a small unveiling ceremony on Saturday, October 15th at 11 a.m. And we will have a small lunch reception in our community room, which will be sponsored by Steve Corbell's company. So thank you for that. But we will have some more formal invitation for that. So I just would like to highlight that. Anything else on public works?
We have the rest of the foreman's report, but since the foreman is not here, all of his report is available in the agenda for reading.
Thank you. Next, we have public safety. Mr. Bayoki, please.
Yes, thank you. I have no motions and the report is available in the agenda. If anyone would like to review that, if there's no questions, that concludes my report.
Thank you. So we have a motion to adjourn. So without objection, we adjourned. The next scheduled council meeting is on September 28th. And we will be probably here. And the committee meetings, like I said already, Tuesday, September 6th and Tuesday, September 13th. And all meetings are 7 p.m. And we will have an executive session following up to that. Thank you, everyone.